Hey, special educators. This is Jennifer from Positively Learning. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm so glad that you're here. We are kicking off a summer series for special educators. Be sure to hit subscribe here at YouTube at Positively Learning so that you get notification when I go live, which is going to be every single week in summer on Wednesdays. I'm shooting for 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, but also be sure to hit subscribe so you can always catch the replay at a time that's convenient for you. So, this video is the start of something that I've been building for a while. In the past, I've given webinars and workshops and summits. I wanted this summer to feel different. I wanted it to be incredibly easy. I don't want you to have to sign up for anything. Use your summertime to attend a workshop. I don't want you to pay for anything. Let's just show up on YouTube and let's have a conversation. I'm going to be coming through every week and giving little pieces that are going to add up to an independent work system that's going to work in your classroom. Whether you've tried independent work before and it just did not go so well, or if it's something that you just couldn't even imagine. You couldn't imagine pulling a small group and having students work independently without you standing right next to them. So I do want to start off talking about one of the reasons independent work might be falling apart in your classroom and how it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the tasks, with the materials you've chosen. I know this is usually where we think, no, it did have to do with the tasks because they were too hard. They weren't right. They didn't hold my students' attention. So many of us have spent a lot of time and a lot of money trying to solve independent work with materials, more and more materials. Maybe you're downloading from TPT. Maybe it's something from Pinterest. Maybe it's something you saw a reel on and you thought, this might work. You're buying resource after resource and trying different things. And maybe it does work for 1 or 2 days, or maybe not at all. If the thought creeps in that you're thinking, well, maybe I just haven't found the right activity yet, this is where I want to stop you. It might not be a material problem. You might be choosing the best materials. And the good news is you can use them, because what I'm suggesting is that it's a systems problem. And when we talk about independent work systems in classrooms, we're talking about routines. When independent work does break down, and it happens a lot as a special educator, as an instructional coach for special educators, this is not a you problem. This is a problem. This happens a lot. And I notice that it often breaks down in one of 3 places. So here are the 3 places that independent work often breaks down. The first one is students don't do the work. They don't get started. Maybe the tasks are in front of them and they're sitting down and then they're looking at you like, what are we waiting for? I'm just going to wait. And if you are not right there, giving directions, redirections, they might not do the work. And you certainly don't feel like you could walk away and pull a small group, because students would just be sitting there, stopping before they even begun. The second place independent work systems often break down is halfway through. Maybe they did get started because that part of the routine was so clear, but then they hit a bump, a step they weren't sure about, a direction that they didn't know, and they didn't have the stamina to push through. So instead, they just stop and wait for you, and they just disengage entirely. Now, the third place is the one I don't feel like we talk about enough, but it does happen. Students do the task. You have chosen an amazing task. You've given a very clear starting point. You have picked the perfect amount of task cards that's hitting that student's sweet spot so that they can get through them, experience success. They're building their stamina. This is such good news. But what happens when they get to the end? Sometimes when students get to the end, they complete the task, then they just sit there. Or worse, they start wandering. They're not sure what to do. Maybe they're tapping the person next to them because they're not exactly sure what comes after that. If any of those sound familiar, you're definitely in the right place. So these 3 breakdown points: not getting started, stopping midway, not knowing what's coming next, they aren't really a student problem. It doesn't mean that your students can't work independently. And it's definitely not your problem as the teacher. You're not doing anything wrong. This is a systems problem. Students might not be getting started because that start signal isn't clear enough. Maybe a start signal on one day looks like tasks sitting there waiting for them. Great. Maybe tasks are handed out as students walk in on another day. Well, that's a clear signal. Or maybe they're going to go get the tasks from a drawer, bin, cart, shelf. That's another strong signal. But if those signals are not clear enough and super consistent, that can cause a breakdown problem if it looks a little different each time they sit down to work. Students might stop midway because that task wasn't set up for independence. It wasn't perfectly at their independent level. So they might need a prompt or assistance to get through. And then at the end, students don't know what comes next. So they might not do anything. If it's just the task, they finish it and then they just sit there. Now, none of this is our fault. It's just the system. That's the good news. We can fix that. I think of it as like a system leak that needs to be plugged, to be fixed. Teachers are taught to find good materials. We know, right, good materials that match from others that are just really cute and not exactly have substance. We also know how to differentiate. We're taught all kinds of strategies to help students engage, but routines, often we have to figure that out as we go on our own. So that's what this series is for. Now, here is the framework we're going to be working on in the series as I come back every Wednesday on YouTube Live. It's called the Tasks Framework. Now, I want to be very clear. I didn't invent independent work. I didn't invent task boxes, but I did create this framework because as someone who has been in the classrooms for over 25 years, I can see what has worked and I can see what hasn't worked. And if you have been following me for a while at Positively Learning, you know I am very much a less is more. We do not need to get fancy. Less is more or less, and we just want something to feel easy. Easy for us, easy for everyone in our classroom, easy for students. All right, so I want to walk through what this tasks framework is and how we're going to be using this in this summer series. What I wanted to do was actually build a system that works based on my experiences and my observations. TASKS is an acronym. Each letter is a step in building the system. Even if you just did one of these letters or maybe two of these letters this summer, it's going to make a big difference. Please do not feel like you have to be here all summer long just to set up one system. All of these have very helpful information as we go. If you have experience with independent work, you just need a little tweak, you might find what you need and you're ready. If independent work is really new to you, I would suggest watching all of them. They all build on each other and it just keeps getting better. All right, the first T in the acronym TASKS stands for Think It Through. We're going to be doing this next week. We're going to start with the end in mind. What should students be actually doing? Are you aligning tasks to curriculum? Are you aligning it to IEP goals and objectives, to lesson plans? A little bit of both. A stands for accessing materials. We're going to look at what you already have access to before even suggesting purchasing anything. S stands for set the stage. We are going to be setting up tasks that have a clear start, a clear middle, a clear finish to eliminate those breakdowns. K stands for keep it organized and consistent. This is where we're building the routines and that physical setup so students can work without you. And then the second S stands for support and step back. We're going to talk about how we're going to teach the students the system and then actually step back. It's 5 steps. It's one complete system. So you don't need to figure this out in 1 week. We are going to be doing this piece by piece, but each piece standalone is going to be very impactful. All right. So we're going to be talking about the T next week. Be sure to come back next Wednesday at 11 o'clock and Eastern Standard Time. And then we're going to be walking through the tasks acronym, and then we're going to keep going. Then we're going to be talking about the small group test. Can your classroom actually keep moving without you? We're going to be talking about troubleshooting. We're going to be talking about how we're going to get this ready for back to school. I mean, not thinking about school yet. We've got some time, but we are going to be putting this in together as one complete system. So before we finish up today, I did want to give you something practical to do. Super easy. It's not a download. You don't need to sign up for anything. It's easy. I just want you to do an observation. And if you're already out of school, wonderful, but then it would be a reflection on how your students worked during independent work. So If you're live teaching ESY, you're still in the school year, you can do observation. If not, we can do a reflection. But what I want you to notice is, where do students pause? Where do things start to break down? Does it break down at the start? Like students don't even get going working? Does it fall apart in the middle? Are students stopping and then waiting for you? Or does it fall apart at the end? Are they finishing a task, which is wonderful, but then they're just checked out? We're not going to fix it. We just want to notice it. That one observation is going to make everything we talk about over the summer series, it's going to feel more concrete. If you do want to go deeper right now, if you want to explore the Task Box Club or the Independent Work Club, where we build this type of system, I'm going to put a link in the description. Inside the club, every task is designed around these principles. There's also a full training to get it all at once. It's a clear start, a clear work, clear finish, structure for independence, not for handholding. Thank you so much. This was the first week, a little bit nervous, but I can't wait to hear what you think. Thanks so much for being here. I also am going to be talking about this on the weekly podcast, which is Special Educators Resource Room podcast. It comes out every Friday, and you can tune in. Be sure to follow over there. I'm also going to be sharing that on YouTube. So if you're here, you've got everything in one place. Thanks so much for being here. I will catch you next week when we're starting to dive into the T in the tasks framework. And we're going to talk about how to start with the end in mind. I'll see you next week.